Brad, you've needed Kyrie Irving to do so much for you all season. What's it like having a game where you don't need him to do much for you?
Well, he still does. He does a ton just by his presence on the court because he's always drawing attention. Off every pick and roll, he was double teamed. Obviously, they're going to guard him, out on the floor, and so some of the rolls are open, some of the drives for other guys are open. So him just being out there makes it easier on everybody else. And but I thought we had a lot of good performances from a lot of good people against a really good team. I didn't think they had their best night. I thought that, obviously if they make a couple more free throws in the first half, it may be a different ball game heading into the second. But, feel pretty good about it. And now we move on. We've got a tough one tomorrow night.
Brad, Jalen appears to have found a way to fit his game into, the time that he has in this rotation. Are you seeing that more from him?
Yeah, I mean, everybody. But he's been good. He's had a lot of good games in the last month. And so, that's all. And it's not going to be the same every night, but I do think that, guys know where their spots are and aren't forcing the issue when they're not there and taking it when they are.
Brad, how important do you think it is for teams like the Celtics and the rest of the NBA to have nights like Pride Night as you guys did tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought it was great. I actually didn't know it prior to going out to the court, and I thought, I think, one of the things that I've loved about being a member of the NBA is I feel like, when you go home and you have a 13 and 9-year-old and you're able to talk about, diversity, inclusion, making sure that not only that you work hard to be the best person you can be, but you make sure that you celebrate it. And so thought it was great. I was very happy we did that.
Brad, it was, I believe, your fifth straight night with 30 or more assists. This time against a really good defensive team, obviously. Just how ingrained is the ball movement right now? I mean, just how...
Yeah, it was hard to find good clips at the start of the year. I think some of that was because we were pressing. Some of that was because we missed shots when the ball was moving. All looks a little bit better when it finishes with a make. But that's who we have to be. I mean, there's going to be plenty of moments where we're going to be bottled up and somebody's going to have to go and do what they do in an individual way. And, obviously we've got a couple of guys, and especially Kyrie and Jason and guys like that can go and do that. But I think that they draw so much attention, and everybody else benefits so much from the attention that they draw, that when the ball's popping, it's hard to guard.
Brad, the Pacers were playing second night of a back-to-back. You guys have one tomorrow night. You've been doing this for a few years in the NBA now. What's the most difficult part of playing that second game, but leading up to the actual game?
I'll talk to you about that in July. We're going to play as well as we can tomorrow, but I mean, you can imagine what the tough parts are. It's a long flight, but everybody has them. So we'll get up, get ready to play.
Coach, Marcus Morris had another big game for you guys offensively. Is it getting to the point where when he goes off for 15, 20 points, you just kind of shrug your shoulders and just accept it? That's just what he does?
Well, he's been in a good rhythm all year, but he's the one that we've talked about all year that right from the get-go was very comfortable in what he was, what he was going to do best and how it fit in with us, regardless if he was starting or coming off the bench. As a lot of other guys found their way in that, he's always been consistent with that. And the most impressive part of his night tonight is he did it on 8 shots.
Coach, Monday night you had Marcus Smart diving for a ball with you're up 20. Tonight, Shemi's making a cornerback type play. You're up 27. What kind of hustle when the game's decided? What does that do for your team? What kind of tone does that set?
I mean, I just think there's a right way to play all the time. Not everybody gets to play all the time, so it's their opportunity to play that way. And, I thought one of the reasons our guys are making those plays is because how much they respect who they're playing against. I mean, I think, when you talk about Brooklyn and the way they've been playing and then the Pacers who have been doing it now for a few years, like they know they have to play every possession the right way, and that's one of the things that really good teams figure out at one point or another.
Brad, you're playing about 3 games a week, obviously, so fans and the media, we don't get to see everything. But what we're seeing lately, the ball movement, 8 guys at double figures, I think 7 tonight. Have you been seeing that in practice recently? Is this a phenomena that you've noticed with your team?
I can't remember the last time we practiced live, so I would say that it's a game-born phenomena, not a practice. But we talk about it all the time. You know, I do think, you know, you get a chance to watch other teams and see them up close and see them play. And we were really starting to move the ball throughout our 8-game win streak. And then I thought we had some really good possessions in late December. But I think, you know, playing the Spurs was probably a good thing for our team from the standpoint of watching the ball pop around against us. And so, you know, hopefully we can, you know, continue to move it. That's our task.
Brad, I think last year you mentioned that, you know, with the schedule really changed last year, how because you had so few practices, it was like a lot of these games were your practices. Is that still the same this year, or do you think you've learned how to manage the way the schedule is now to try to get more in between games?
I mean, we're doing the exact same thing we did last year, so I don't know if it's any, you know, there's no difference. We're doing film on our off days and doing a lot of maintenance work on our bodies and occasional light lifts and individual work. And you know, we just can't practice as a team. Some guys have to play some 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 to stay in shape. Some guys have to take the day completely off. It just depends on what their requirements are during a normal game day. But you manage it all as part of the opportunity to play 3, 4, sometimes 5 games in 8 days.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you were used to coaching in a certain way for a long time, up until probably the last couple of years. Has the way you kind of instill plays, different concepts, has that really changed over the last couple of years?
No, it really hasn't. I mean, the first year I'd say it was hard to adjust to from college because you don't get to practice at all. But the last couple have been pretty consistent.